To 5 a.m. Friday and Saturday nights. Just doesn't get any better than this, baby, because you can't get enough of that love. From KCAA, 1050 a.m. and 106.5 on the FM.
This is 1050 a.m. KCAA Loma Linda and 106.5 FM Yucaipa.
Tom Busby, CNBC Radio. A California jury has sided with Cinemark in the first civil trial over the 2012 shooting during the midnight premiere of a Batman film that left 12 dead outside Denver. The jury decided the movie theater chain was not liable for the deaths and took adequate safety measures. On Wall Street, the Dow today down 91 points, the Nasdaq down 26, as investors prepare for an interest rate hike from the Fed this summer. Walmart, though, a rare bright spot in this dismal retailer earnings season. The chain posted a surprise gain in sales last quarter and issued an optimistic outlook. Shares today up nearly 10%. But it's the same old story after the bell from the Gap, which saw its profits nearly cut in half last quarter. Now it plans to close 75 Old Navy and Banana Republic stores, most of them in Japan, amid slumping sales. And Apple, hoping to boost iPhone sales, planning to overhaul all of its nearly 500 Apple stores worldwide. I'm Tom Busby, CNBC Radio.
Hi, Tom Bodette with news for AARP members. Stay at Motel 6 and get great benefits like a 10% discount, free Wi-Fi, even late checkout on request. Those are a big help because members say they want to travel more. They also say they want to go on cruises. And while we have over 1,200 convenient locations, they don't float, so no help there. Book by calling 855-M6-AARP-0. I'm Tom Bodette, and we'll leave the light on for you.
When you pick up an Evercraft 26-piece screwdriver set for $19.99 at Napa, you're not just getting 26 beautiful chrome-plated instruments. You're getting something that shows the world if there's a problem, you've got 26 ways to tackle it. That's $19.99 for a 26-piece screwdriver set and 26 ways to show you're the man for any job that requires screwdrivers. That's Napa know-how. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 5/31/16.
The other station claims to be local. Since when is Glendale local? KCAA, your true local station.
We are the first people students see when they arrive at school. We are the secretaries that greet students with smiles. We turn on the lights. We keep schools clean and free of hazards. We help children learn to read, write, and think critically. We prepare and serve nutritious food. We are the watchful eyes on campus. We are classified employees. And we are the California School Employees Association, dedicated to educating students. Visit us on the web at www.csea.com.
Plexus Slim, the pink drink. It works. Finally, there is a healthy solution to help you lose weight, experience quick results, and keep the weight off. People around the country are experiencing amazing results, and you can too. Plus, right now, you can try it free for 7 days. Just email your name, address, and phone number for a free sample to tryplexusfree@gmail.com. The pink drink. It works.
Hey, buddy, I heard the drought's moving in, muscling in on your turf. To make matters worse, the man keeps telling you to limit your spigot. That drought is bad news, no fooling. But me and my boys can help. The Water Boys, on the Waterzone, Thursday nights at 6. We'll help you protect your turf and save water. And hey, don't worry about it. Consider it a gift.
Yeah, Louie, you heard the boss. We gotta listen in at 6 p.m. on Thursday nights.
Okay, Vinny, you got it. The Waterzone, Thursday nights at 6 p.m. I'll tell our lawn it's now protected.
In here.
They turned it off because you're wasting water.
What? What are you talking about?
You know.
Because you know it's all about that drop. about that drought, no water. It's all about that drought, no water. It's all about that drought, no water. It's all about that drought, drought. Yeah, it's pretty clear, we're really short on blue. It's time to save it, like we're supposed to do. Some say it's doom, gloom, and all our grass must go. But together we can make it and enjoy our golden state. It's all about that drought, no water. It's
well,
all
good
about
afternoon,
that drought,
and welcome to the Waterzone with Mike and Rob. You're listening on
KCAA
KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5, and they also have another one, 103.5. So they're adding stations every day.
2.3.
2.3
is what it would be.
There we go.
So I can't keep up with all the stations picking this up. It's getting crazy.
But I got to tell you something, because we don't do enough publicity about this. But did you know? And this is the only radio station I know of that lets you dial a toll-free number and listen to the radio program.
Yes. And
I'm going to look that up right now. And unless you know the number.
832 999 1050.
1050. You can dial that, and I don't care where you're driving in the United States.
You can get it.
You can get it onto your smartphone, which obviously so many of you have Bluetooth connection to your speaker system in your car, and you can drive along the freeways and listen to the most up-to-date information about water policy in the state of California on air anywhere.
Well, why I got a little confused, we went out and got the new radio shirts from NBC.
Yes.
And they have the two stations. Now we got to get another one that has the third station listed on it.
Well, you know what? If we're going to get those new shirts, let's put the 800 at that 832 number, because
we can do that too.
Because that's it. Yeah, 832-999-1050.
And anybody who wants to call in and give us a talk, it's 909-888-5222. And if you're calling outside the 909 area code, you can call 888-909-1050. So I had a long day. I was in San Diego, but how's your day?
Hey, my day was great. We being the Toro Irrigation Division, hosted about 20 contractors and some city folks to a CLCA certified water manager training session. And then they took the test, but they learned about water budgets. They learned about precipitation rates and how you calculate them with a catch can test and how you estimate them using catalog data, and it was really good.
Hands-on training outside?
Well, they simulated a catch can process, and they calculated that lower quarter distribution.
You got a hose and squirted them in their seats.
Right? That's right. Squirt gun. But the interesting thing was, with the update to the Model Water Efficient Landscape Ordinance that is basically regulates any new irrigation system on commercial and residential projects. There's now a new minimum standard for this distribution uniformity lower quarter, which is nothing more than a mathematical way of expressing how evenly
it covers
that sprinkler system covers. And it's now 0.65 is the new minimum standard. And of course, guess what they're going to do in the future? Of course, just like gas mileage, it always keeps getting ratcheted up. So that's
They'll ratchet it up.
That's what's going to happen here.
So let's hear what we got for some news coming here, and we'll do that. Well, here we go.
All right. Well, we've got some news today. Probably the biggest news is that is two-pronged.
You giving me a surprise?
The first big, it's not a surprise, it was expected, and that is Metropolitan Water District, the largest wholesaler of water in the world, but specifically here for Southern California. They lifted all of their allocations and all of their penalties for going over the allocations for all of their member agencies. So they want to let the agencies, buy more water because, it did rain more than usual.
And David Goshi this morning was on the air from Metropolitan Water announcing that.
So that's a big thing. The other big thing is a 2-day meeting of the State Water Resources Control Board, and Felicia Marcus is the chair, and it's been probably 6 months since she appeared or we heard her comment here on the show, announced that rather than the state of California imposing a 25% reduction target on the state of California and all the water agencies, the State Water Resources Control Board is going to allow each of the 422 agencies set their own reduction target. So
that's good.
That's pretty
significant. Some like Eastern still have it high at Rancho California Water.
Well,
so
now
they're still saying it's in a level 4 situation.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see if they decide to change that or not. Now that they actually have to submit by June 1st to the State Water Resources Control Board what their new target's going to be.
Right.
Now, this is not just a target you're going to pull out of the air. This target is based on what water reserves you have access to, and can you deliver water demanded by your customer base over 3 consecutive drought years.
Right.
And if there's a shortfall, you have to calculate what that shortfall could be. And if it's 15%, then that's what your reduction target should be, 15%. But up in Northern California, with all of the reservoirs overflowing, you think why is it that they don't send us some of that overflowing water?
You know how I feel about that. I think that's ridiculous. They just pump the water out and it's wasted.
It's amazing. But bottom line is that this is really quite a significant change of direction, in the sense that the state of California is saying, okay, water agencies, you wanted the responsibility, you want to calculate what your reduction target should be.
Now you got it.
Now you got it. So you know what they say, you know that saying, be careful what you ask for. You might get exactly what you asked for.
Well, we had our conversation last week with Girish Balachandra, who's the GM for Riverside Public Utilities.
Yes.
And they got a lot of water, and we had the lady on from San Bernardino, and they have a lot of water, and talked to a lot of people who have lots of water.
Yeah. So,
but anyway, that's a good thing. Like I said, they announced that, and hopefully people can start getting back to have a reasonable grass if they use the right products as well.
Yep.
Which we won't go into, but.
Well, and it was interesting because the State Water Resources Control Board, they were thinking about, well, maybe we should still have a baseline 10% reduction target. Just say you can be more than 10%, but you've got to at least be 10%. And then they said, well, maybe we ought to have a baseline of 4%. Bottom line was, the board decided that would send a mixed message. They're either going to trust and rely on each of the individual agencies to set their goals, or they're going to control it. And they decided to turn that control over to the local agencies, and that's going to encourage them to be more responsible for developing their future reserves and doing things on the more local or regional level. So that's really, I think, quite significant. The other thing that's, I think, very significant is, with all of the rain and the Godzilla El Nino that came, what do you think today in May, mid-May, what do you think our snowpack is in the state of California as a percent of the historical average? Now, remember, it was over 100% on April 1st in northern Sierras.
Right.
It was under 100% just in April 1st, right? Now, a month and a half later, where do you think we're at?
Still below.
Yeah. We're actually at 33%. We've gone from 100% in northern Sierras to 33% of the historical average, because that snow is melting faster.
Yep.
And in fact, if you want to see the impact of that faster melting snow, just Google Yosemite Falls. That thing is going nuts in terms of all the water that they're discharging.
Well, you must think I'm crazy because I'm sitting here giving signals to our engineer, and you have no idea what I'm doing.
I know you are a multi-talented person that can
I had a surprise for you.
I
had a surprise for you, but it's not working out at the moment.
Okay.
So that's what all the hand gestures.
Knowing your surprises, I probably am thankful it didn't quite work out. So, but no, it's I gotta go back to a couple weeks ago. We had the former general manager of Southern Nevada Water Authority, right? Pat
Mulroney.
Mulroy or Mulroney? Mulroy. And she made an interesting comment about after 5 years of reduced pumping from Northern California to Southern California of the water, that there has been no significant or even measurable improvement in the population of Delta smelt. And you got to say, hey, if what you're doing is not producing the results you want,
why are you doing it?
And you keep doing it, what do they say, what's the definition of crazy? Keep doing what you're doing and expecting different results.
I told you I went to a meeting 2 years ago, and they had another science company there, and they were saying the first test that they did should be invalid because they found tons of Delta smelt. But,
and I just one last thing on this pumping of water, because there's been thousands of acre feet of water pumped out of the overflowing reservoirs in Northern California,
from Shasta, Oroville,
and it's gone right out the underneath the Golden Gate Bridge out to the ocean. So there are two major water projects in the state of California. The State Water Project, SWP, and then the Central Valley Project. Now, the Central Valley Project is managed by the federal government. The State Water Project is managed, obviously, by the state of California. So I thought it was curious. Last year, the Central Valley Project, managed by the federal government, set a allocation of 0% for farmers in the Central Valley. Right. What do you think their allocation was for environmental and wildlife purposes?
A whole lot more.
75%.
Yeah.
Today, in 2016, the Central Valley Project has allocated 100% of what is required or desired by for the fish protection and the wildlife protection, and they increased the farmer allocation from 0 to a whopping, I mean, you sit down and get ready for this, to 5%.
5%, yeah.
And so I'm thinking, gosh, somewhere there's got to be more balance, and so
there's a lot of private industry who can take over for the fish hatcheries and things of that, and they're fighting the state on that because they'd like to be able to take that over and manage it properly and get more water to where it really needs to go.
But just so everybody knows, Dianne Feinstein, the senator from California, has proposed legislation to the U.S. Senate that would address increasing the pumping of water to Southern California when there is available water, such as this year. But she's running into problems because obviously there's always the other side of the discussion, right? Yep. The Natural Resources Defense Council, We Love the Delta Smelt Organization, and We Love Trout Anonymous organization.
Well, he's on the Angels, Trout.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
But I think people
wrong Trout.
I think people really got to realize that we're on the top of the food chain, and until that hits their reality, it hasn't affected them personally as much, but needs to change.
The even with all this rain, the state of California, the farmers are still fallowing something like 500,000 acres of farmland that could be producing, and it's just a shame because I don't know. It just seems like the water's there, but it's not getting to where people want it.
You're right. If you can only get the legislatures to get together and stick like glue, that would be good. Which leads us into a nice segment. We have a gentleman on the phone. His name is Fabio Castellani, and he's the president of Well Done. And Fabio, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much. Very, very clever intro.
Did it stick?
Yes. Well, yeah. Although we will talk a little bit about the difference between a solvent cement and a glue here.
Now, I got to tell our audience and tell Mike, because I don't think Mike knows this. You're pretty famous in another arena.
Okay, I think I know where you're going to, but I'm not going to guess.
He's a race car driver.
Oh, wow.
A very good one.
Sir.
So not what do they call it? Not drag racing, but this is like
Oh, no.
stock
I
car?
don't do drag race. I don't do straight line, and I don't do circle. We do road courses. Like
Le Mans,
Formula.
So it's a lots of fun. But I'm telling you, selling glue is also lots of fun.
We appreciate you coming out. I did my huge staff, and Mike's laughing. It's me because I'm huge.
Yeah.
That's the only.
Hey, that's my line.
Oh, that's your line. So we did a little research on you and did that. And I won't go into it unless you want me to. But he has an illustrious career as a driver, and so we're
with a name like Fabio, I mean, come on.
Do you have a
There you go,
do you have a
right?
Lamborghini or a Ferrari or a McLaren?
No, come on. I was born and raised in Italy. You know, what kind of question is that?
Ferrari
is the only way to go.
That's right. Anyway, so last week we were joking around talking about glue and cement and things like that, and I'm using those words
interchangeably at this point because we don't know any better.
Well, the people who go to the stores don't know any better. They walk in and they see a plethora of cans and they have no idea what to buy. And sometimes they buy the wrong stuff and things. So why don't you tell us a little about Well Done and when they started and what they do, and I'll leave it to you.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, first of all, for giving me the opportunity to talk Well Done with you guys and with your audience, right? It just happens to be one of my favorite subjects, together with racing, of course. In fact, today was funny because I had, people coming into my office all the time. Everybody was trying to coach me, and the coaching was not to tell me what to say. I think I have a pretty good idea of what we do and how it works, all this kind of stuff. But everybody knows that I get really excited talking about Well Done, and I just keep going and going and going.
It's
right?
better. It's better when it's
just
live.
get to the point. Don't talk too much.
No. It's better to be live than to be scripted.
Well, Fabio, you and I have that in common, so we'll help each other out.
Excellent. Then I'm talking to the right people here.
You got it.
Well, the truth is that there is, in fact, and you guys already have touched on a couple of things that seem small, but they're extremely important, like the choices, right? And the choices, I'm not really necessarily referring to choices between this brand or that brand, but the choices of all the different product line. How do you pick the right one? Which one is the right one? How to use it? There's really a lot to say about all this. There's a lot to say, frankly, about our company, our products, and our people as well. Because at the end of the day, I think that people make a huge difference in any business, in every aspect of life. So, a little bit about Well Done. Let's see. We have a small claim to fame that this company is the company that actually invented solvent cement 60 years ago in 1954.
Wow.
So the chemistry was really invented here. It was a little before my time, so I cannot take credit for it. But some very smart people here just created this technology, basically.
I've got to interrupt you for just a second, only because I've got to know if you ever have seen the movie called The Graduate.
Of course.
Okay, great. Because plastics, right? Yeah. And when they say plastics, they also don't say it out loud, but it has to do with the solvent welding, right? So, okay, I just want to make sure, because you're from Middle East, so I thought, well, I don't know, but
no. And actually, that's kind of like my life, because before joining, Well Done about 10 years ago, and the rest of my career has always been in plastic pipe valves and fitting, which I think it's one of our strengths, because I'm not the only one. We have a few people here in the company that are really pipe and fitting people, and so it really helped us not just develop. I mean, we have incredible our brain trust, right? We have incredible chemists, but if that was all you got, and then certain companies, in fact, are staffed that way, I think they lack the understanding of how then the product works with the pipe and fitting, and then that's what we're here for. We're here for not to, the glue or the solvent cement are not the end of the process; they're the beginning of the process, right? And they really need to work in unison in different conditions: cold, weather, wet, hot, and these are all the things they go into the different products, right, and the different choices.
I mean, Mike,
I'm sorry.
No,
yes.
I was going to say, Mike asked me the other day, I told him that we're going to have you on the show, and he says, so tell me how that fits with water. And I go, well, it's really simple. A lot of people today want to fix their own irrigation pipes, and they get breaks and things, and they don't necessarily always want to go out and hire a contractor for whatever reason. So they go to the store and they say, okay, I need this, this, and this, and they keep coming back and forth because they keep forgetting stuff at the store and they don't know what they're doing. Sure. And they come in and they try to do something, and they do it sloppily. They don't understand the proper technique or how to apply it or what to, whether you twist it or whatever, and then it leaks.
Yeah, or the fitting blows off. I've been on jobs myself where it's like, why are we getting this bubbling spring out of the sod? And, you dig around and you see that the elbow has just popped off the PVC pipe, and you can see
it and cure, right? Yeah.
And you go, oh my gosh, well, so I think it's important because as kind of a consumer of the product without knowing all the ins and outs of it, it's like, well, great. So how do I prevent that? How do I make sure that I pick the right product and that I use it correctly? Otherwise, I can get the best product, right? And if I don't use it correctly, I'm going to have problems.
Yeah, and let me give you a little perspective that you probably, I think, intuitively everybody understand that, but I think this is a pretty good example. If you look at the bill of material of buying, pipe fittings, maybe a valve here and there, and solvent cement, right? The cost of the incident of the solvent cement and the primer, it's less than 1%. Right, so people always tend to overlook, and this is sometimes is also difficult in different industry, maybe like in industrial application, whatever, to really get an engineer's or on an architect attention, right, to that, because it's such a small dollar value. However, that 1%, it's what holds together the remaining 99%. Right. So if you don't select the right one, and if you don't do it right, as you guys are pointing out, you're just throwing away 99% of your money, not just the 1%.
Well,
right?
and I think it's super critical, to, especially in California with water situation. And Rob and I have been on projects, HOAs. We've been at cityscapes. We've been at residential. Sure. And it amazes me how many times there is a situation with the fittings and the pipe that has been wasting water for who knows how many weeks, because we all irrigate at 4 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning, and we're not out there watching and looking. Where are the
there, right? Yeah, exactly.
And you guys,
no, absolutely. It's the waste is incredible, right? So and then the thing is that. The beauty, first of all, this technology, it's been around for 60 years, and the reliability of a properly performed joint with a good quality product is amazing. It's incredible, just absolutely outstanding. Okay, the two-edged sword of this product and application system is that it's simple. In fact, it is easy and it is simple, and that's the good news. The bad news is because it is easy and it is simple, people tend to overlook the importance of doing it right. Right, and oftentimes they don't even know. I'm not going to name names here, but I've been with large contractor where they say, hey, I use your product, fantastic. We pre-prime the fitting on Saturday or whatever or on Monday, so they're ready to go the next day. And that's insane.
Yeah.
Because one of the first things is that the primer, which is essential, particularly if you are in wet condition, if you are in cold condition, a little bit colder condition, right? The primer needs to still be wet on the pipe and fitting when you apply the cement. So when you pre-prime, and I'm using air quote here, right, you're doing me a huge favor because it means you're going to have to buy twice as much primer, but you're not doing yourself a favor, right? It's really so technique is essential. I think that the two things that are that I can convey to your audience that I think are fundamental here is pick the right products. You guys already touched upon that. And, what is quality, right? So, because, right now, again, well done over the history of our company. We were instrumental in actually working with the different, standards, ASTM. Sometimes I go around telling people when you see a competitor's label that said meets ASTM D2564, it should really say it meets whatever Well Done says that it should meet, right? But anyway, this is my my personal angle on that. But the fact is, number one, the standard is a minimum, and our product, exceed the standard. I'm not saying we're the only one, but the standard is not the end all of everything. And secondly, you got on, part of the standard, as a matter of fact, is also the application method, right? So you need to, what is quality, particularly in a product like this? In our case, quality is, the choices of raw materials. This is a solvent-based product. None of the solvents are dumped in our tanks here until somebody from QC comes out and makes sure that meet our quality, right? The quality is the fact that you're being able to repeat the same the same level of performance can after can after can after can. Well Done has some of the most advanced automation in the world, frankly, when it comes to solvent cement manufacturing, right? So when you buy, a Well Done product, whether it's the first product you bought or the 1,000, can that you bought, you open that can and you know that you're going to get exactly the same level of performance that you got, on the very first can, right? So quality goes way beyond meeting a standard. And then the other thing is the understanding, being trained a little bit. It's not a difficult training. It's not nuclear physics, right? But there is, there are some requirements here that needs to be met. So the other thing that I think distinguishes our company, frankly, compared to anybody else, in the world, realistically, I'm always referring to solvent cement here, of course, is the fact that we've been doing training for contractors for 6 years. We have trained over 100,000 installers, and we do this, religiously. We have a technical hotline. We have mobile apps that you can get to, and in a minute I'll give you some reference for your audience so that
that'd
they
be
can
great.
they can find out how to do all that. Our training is for free. It's free. I mean, one of the things about one of our philosophy is that it doesn't matter if it's my product or another product. And you guys kind of mentioned before, if something goes wrong, whatever it is that goes wrong, whether it's the cement, the pipe, the fitting, or maybe the installation, right? Everybody gets painted with the same brush. So we feel that if we help to elevate the level of success of this system, right? We're helping ourselves. Okay, maybe we're helping some of our competitors. Have at it. That's not an issue, right? We really are helping everybody. We're helping the installer. We're helping the industry. We're helping the end user, and certainly, and you guys pointed it out, we're helping the environment at this point because water water conservation is a big thing.
Well,
right?
let me ask you this. What I find is if I can help a contractor or a maintenance person at a city solve a problem that they have, an irrigation problem, that is going to make them more likely to want to come back to Toro than if I just try to sell them my product. So, I always have that philosophy of, help the customer solve their problem first, and then you'll get a reciprocal opportunity at some point to show them what you have. Do you find by being open to getting questions from those professionals that might not be using your product that some of that happens, that they tend to raise their opinion, their perception of the value of doing business with Weldon?
Mike, I think you're my lost brother, because before becoming president of Weldon for 7 years, I was the VP of international sales, right? And I tell my salespeople, even today in my current position, I tell my salespeople pretty much exactly what you just said, right? You're not going there to sell your product. First of all, understand what their reality is, your customer, the end user's reality is, what their problems are. Learn that, right? Learn that as much as you learn about your product. And then present to them things that help them in their everyday. And, and of course that it goes, twice as much for answering question. Really, I think that is the greatest sales tool that you can possibly have. Help solve problem for the end user of your product. You do that, you will be remembered, forever. Absolutely. There's no question about that. I have actually taken account from competitors simply because of the opposite, because the competitor didn't do that. They didn't help. All it was about the sale. I made the sale, and that's it. And it ends right there. And the reality is the greatest value
Are you presently part of
to
the
everybody
irrigation industry
in this circle, right? From the manufacturer to the distributor, to the installer, the contractor, everybody, the end user. The greatest value is making sure that everything works, and everything works to expectation and it works well.
Absolutely.
And,
Fabio, I wanted to say I've got a couple of neat questions that I want to ask you as a consumer, but we're going to take a little commercial break, and we'll be right back. Can you hold on?
Absolutely.
Okay, you're
thank
listening
you.
to Waterzone on KZ.
KCAA 1050 AM. Hey, that's late for you. You're always an early riser.
Are you presently part of the irrigation industry as a worker or business owner? Do you want to learn how you and your staff can boost your knowledge and productivity? Then you should check out Irrigator Technical Training School. Irrigator Tech is the leading source of quality instruction serving all facets of the irrigation industry. Their courses provide a basic, easy-to-understand approach that raises the skill level, competency, and professionalism of landscape and irrigation personnel through practical education and services. Irrigator Tech combines classroom and real-life hands-on training, leading to a well-recognized certification that both customers and employers demand. Irrigator Tech's specialized courses can help you quickly become a certified irrigation auditor or a certified installer, repair, maintenance, or backflow technician. Courses also include certificates in smart water application or becoming a certified tree worker. Most importantly, all certifications are state recognized, and Irrigator Tech offers annual renewal classes to help keep your certification up to date. So whether you work in California, Washington, Oregon, Nevada, or Arizona, there's an Irrigator Tech class near you. For more information on how to jumpstart your career, call Irrigator Tech toll-free 866-614-1755 or visit them on the web at irrigatortech.com. That's toll-free 866-614-1755 and on the web at irrigatortech.com.
Are you looking for the right place to purchase your landscaping items? Well, come see us at Hydroscape. Hydroscape offers a large selection of irrigation products including Irritrol and Toro, such as their efficient precision nozzles. For 40 years, Hydroscape has been family owned and operated, serving Southern California. With 17 locations, our knowledgeable and experienced staff is equipped to help you with all your irrigation, landscape, and outdoor living projects. Whether you're installing irrigation systems, wanting to maintain a healthy landscape, or simply create a beautiful lit space for outdoor entertaining, Hydroscape is the place to go. Visit our website at hydroscape.com for more information and find helpful articles on our blog, or call our customer service center at 1-800-395-4477.
Welcome back to the Waterzone with Mike and Rob on KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM. I'm sorry, people. I've been up really early and I drive from Orange County to San Diego. I'm exhausted right now. So, but anyway, we're back with.
But he looks marvelous.
Nah. I'm back here with Fabio Castellani. He's our guest. He's the president of Weldon. And just to let the audience know, all of your product line is universally low VOCs, which is really good for the environment.
And VOC, I think, has to do with volatility or what's...
VOC is volatile organic compound,
okay.
Right? And again, it's part, in a layman's term, it's a greener product, right? It's more user-friendly and then also for the environment. That's a thing that we pioneer. There's a group in California. It's SCAQMD, Southern Coastal Air Quality Management District, and Weldon almost 20 years ago worked with them on reducing VOC in solvent cement. We were the first one with it, and we also were the first company to change our entire product line to low VOC, whether we sold in California or anywhere else in the world. And we did that voluntarily, right? Because it was the right thing to do. So,
right. Well, your company makes, just so everybody, so everybody should know, you don't make just one thing. You make PVC cements, specialty cements, CPVC cements, ABS cements, irrigation cements. You do industrial, electrical, plumbing cements, even pool and spa cements. And then you make a whole host of primers and cleaners, and you have some pretty neat things, sealing compounds, lubricants, and cutting oils. But you also have something that's pretty interesting. It's a special dauber. You want to tell our folks about that?
Yeah.
And also how to store this stuff, because people just throw it in their toolbox or lay it around, and that's not the right thing to do. So.
Actually, the dauber. First of all, the dauber. The way that things are done here in North America, we feel, and we were certainly a pioneer in this, and everybody caught up with that, and then it's a good thing, right? Because it helps with installation. For example, the European, they use a brush to apply solvent cement. And that is really, when at the very beginning we start talking about glue, and I made a little bit of a joke, the difference between glue and solvent cement. But the fact is, understanding the difference is huge, right? Because the way a glue works is when you use super glue, to use that as an example, right? If you're putting two pieces together, let's say part A and part B, the glue needs to be in between the two. If you squeeze all the glue out of it, you have nothing, right? So a glue is really a bridge. Whereas a solvent cement, it's a fusion. If you're welding stuff, if you're welding metal, right, you're melting the material, and then you generate some pressure to squeeze, to squash one against the other, so that the material from part A kind of flows into part B. That's what we do with solvent cement. We don't do it with heat. We do it with chemical, but the concept is exactly the same, right? You soften the material of the pipe, you soften the material of the fitting, and then the interference fit between the pipe and the fitting, because of the way that the socket of the fitting is designed, will push the pipe into the fitting, if you will, right? So the applicator, it's essential, because what that tells you, when we do our classes, one of the things that we tell, our student or an installer all the time is, guys, you're not painting, right? You're not applying a coat. What you're trying to do, whether it's with the primer or with the cement itself, you're actually trying to work that into the wall of the pipe, into the wall of the fitting, right? Because you need to soften, you need to actually dissolve and soften a certain depth of pipe and fitting. So it requires some elbow grease. And so the Super Dauber, which is our new dauber that you're referring to, is really a very ergonomically friendly product. And we actually have another one we're launching shortly for a smaller diameter, right? So the two things that are essential in an applicator, our dauber, number one is the size. Because one of the things that we want to do with solvent cement, we want to make sure that we don't put too little, but we also want to make sure that we don't put too much. Let me give you a visual example which is very clear to understand. Let's say that you're doing a 10-inch pipe, and you're using a dauber which is, half-inch in diameter. Do you think that's going to work very well?
No.
Not really, right? The reverse is also true. You're doing half-inch pipe, and you're using a dauber which is 2-inch in diameter. We're just going to put so much product in that joint that eventually is gonna puddle. It's never gonna cure. Mike told us about some experiences he had where the pipe was popping out of the fitting, right?
Yeah.
You know why? Because that it never cured. There was way too much solvent, too much cement in there, right? So choosing the right size applicator is essential. The super dauber is for large diameter. So let's say, I would start using around 2.5 inch, 3 inch and above. And the key, or one of the key features of this product is because, the dauber, gets really clogged with all the cement. So this is the two pieces. The handle stays with you, forever. And the actual dauber itself, it's something that you can discard and put a new one, right? 'Cause like a cartridge, if you will. So and again, the choosing the right applicator is absolutely essential to the success of your joint.
Is the material of the dauber itself, is that a critical selection? In other words, whether it's polyester or cotton, or I don't know if they're all standard at some material.
Yeah, and that you kind of answered your own question, Mike. It is critical, absolutely. The fact of the matter that pretty much everybody at this point is using the same material. So the daubers out there, frankly, are all good, fairly good quality. There are some differences, in how dense the dauber is. If the dauber is not dense enough, it will tend to absorb too much of the cement. So what happens, instead of, them being able to deposit the cement and working into the pipe and the fitting, it kind of stays in the dauber itself. So yeah, there are some quality difference. There's no question about it. But as far as the choice of the material for the dauber itself, I would say, in North America, it's pretty much all good stuff all around.
As a consumer, not being an irrigation professional, but just as a consumer, sometimes I can buy a solvent cement with a cap that has a dauber on it, or if I get a bigger can, then I buy the dauber separately. But is there a recommendation from you as the manufacturer as to which way you should go?
And how do you?
And the recommendation is very simple. Know what you're doing, because we are we're the one actually that started the whole process, right? So we put daubers in our smaller cans up to a quart,
okay.
And we don't in a gallon can. So if you're doing a large job, obviously you're from an economy standpoint or for financial standpoint, you're much better off getting the bigger gallon can, right? That will require a separate dauber. Now, the thing to pay attention to is in the smaller sizes, because what we put in a quart size, the size of the dauber that we put in a quart size is obviously different from the size of the dauber that we put in a quarter pint, for example. But it's a guess on our part. Because the fact of the matter, you could be using the quart size to do much smaller pipe. You can certainly use it, because you can reseal the can, and the cement is still going to be good for a very, very long time, right? So you have to be savvy enough as a consumer to understand, am I just because this dauber came in this can, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right size dauber for the application. Fortunately, we came to the rescue of the consumer, both in our literature that it can be found on our website and in the mobile app that I was referring to before, because we actually have a chart that shows you what size dauber you should use for the size pipe and fitting that you're doing, which may or may not be what came with the can. Right? So more often than not, if you're buying a quart can, the dauber that we put inside of the size of the dauber we put inside the quart can is what would be used, because 70% of the time those are the size, the pipe sizes that are used, or that a quart can is used with, right? But what about the remaining 30% of the time? So you should be, you should take some time to make sure that the dauber that you get with the can is in fact the right dauber. And again, there's all kinds of information available from Well Done that tells you exactly that. We actually have information that tells you how much cement and how much primer will be used on a job depending on what the pipe size is, right?
Ah.
So you can kind of like, budget, right, your job, and when you go to the store to buy the cement, you know exactly how much cement you need to buy. So you make sure that you're not and then you're halfway through the job and all of a sudden you have to make another trip to the store, or you finish your job and you got a lot of leftover that you didn't need.
Yeah. On the little cans, I've heard different stories on how you should store it after you use it. Do you stand it upright? Do you flip it upside down?
Or you put it on its side?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or is that a wives' tale that somebody trying to trick me?
No. I'm sure the stories are out there, but they are. It's like chicken soup is the cure for.
Yeah, but it
for
is.
everything,
It
right?
is.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Okay. I just learned something.
Only if you chase it with some whiskey, but.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and it gets better, right, with every.
That's right. With every dose.
No, here's the thing. Again, is understanding the product. Solvent cement really actually spells it out, right? So solvent cement is a combination of two things. They're liquid and they're solids, right? The solvents are your liquids and they're your heat. And just like your heat in a weld or in a fusion, whatever, it will eventually dissipate. It needs to get out. It goes out, right? And actually, just that brings me to another thing. For example, people don't understand it. If you don't wipe the bead outside of the mouth of the fitting after you're done, the cure time goes from what could have been, depending on the size and the temperature, whatever, but what could have been like, a few minutes, maybe 10 minutes, to a week.
Oh my
right?
gosh.
Because you're plugging that joint, and you're not allowing the solvent to evaporate. And what cures that joint is, again, the solvent getting out, right? But as far as the solids, what are the solids? The solids, for the most part, are resin. So if you're buying a PVC cement, right, and Rob, you mentioned that we have PVC, CPC, ABS, multi-layer, but let's stick with PVC, which is the most common material. Right. If you buy a PVC cement, dissolved into that can, whether it's a quarter pint or a gallon, makes no difference, dissolve into that, there is actually PVC resin. Because remember what I said before, the solvent will actually dissolve some material. Now, we need to put it back. And on top of that, if you look at the socket, an ASTM or what's called an IPS, iron pipe size socket, it's tapered. What that means is the bottom of the socket is narrower than the top, right? And at the top, the pipe will have a gap. There will be a gap between the pipe OD and the fitting ID. At the bottom, you have interference. So we need to fill this gap. And what do we need to fill the gap with? We want to fill the gap with the same material that the pipe and fittings are made out, right? So that's why you have dissolved PVC. Mm-hmm. So in terms of storing, let's say a half-empty can of cement, whether it's a quarter pint or a half pint or a quart, it really doesn't matter. If you store it for a long time, the solids will tend to deposit at the bottom. Or if you store it on the side, it will tend to deposit on the side, right? The point is really not how you store the can, other than making sure that the cap is tight, right? The point is that whenever you open a can of cement, whether it's brand new or used, you stir it or shake it, right? You want to make sure that, again, that those solids are, again, mixed properly before you use it. And that's really the main thing. It's not how you store it. Is make sure that you either stir it vigorously or shake it. Make sure that you remix those solids in with the salt.
So I thought you were going to tell me that you should just always stir it and never shake it. Kind of. I can do the James Bond thing
with an olive.
Yeah, with an olive.
Well, how can our audience find about your stuff more quickly on the internet, for example?
Absolutely. So our website is www.weldon, WELDON, all one word, .com.
Okay.
And all our technical information is on our website. We actually have how-to videos, right, for small diameter and for large diameter. We have white papers. We talk about solvent welding in hot weather. We talk about solvent welding in cold weather. We also, they can download the app that I mentioned before, and all they have to do is type Weld On in either the Apple App Stores or Google Play. So depending whether you have an Apple phone or an iPhone or an Android, it's available in both. And of course, last but by no means not least, they can certainly call our tech hotline at 877-477-8327. And then they can speak to somebody live. One of our, tech guys is going to be on it, and really, really knowledgeable people. And then again, if I can say, to me, the most important thing is what I said before. If we can help make sure that the application is successful, we're happy. Because, at the end of the day, I think that what really mattered the most for the industry and for everybody, and then like you said, Mike, I mean, it's a good sales tool. Making people happy, it's a good thing. And and getting successful jobs and successful use and repetitive successful use is a big thing, and it pays off for us. It pays off big time.
Well, we appreciate, Fabio, you taking the time to come on the show. It was very interesting, and like you said, if people really want to know more, go to your website. You've got a great selection guide on there for people who don't understand what they're doing, and this will help them out, plus the videos. So appreciate you coming on, and we enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm going to be doing some sprinkler work over the weekend, so I'm going to go on your site at weldon.com and check things out.
And then you come to my house and finish it
so
up.
I just want to because the whole idea about cleaning off the bead, I didn't know that. So
there's so many little tricks. It's not even funny. Check it out. Look at the video. It will tell you everything. And again, it really is simple as long as you do it right.
Hey, Fabio, you know what time it is?
No, I don't know.
It's time for the DIY guy, who I know you know, named Richard Daigle.
Excellent.
Well, thank you so much, Fabio.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Look forward to meeting you sometime in person at one of the trade shows, maybe.
Richard, are you there?
Absolutely.
Hey, I'm here.
You say hi to your friends.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, he was just there a minute ago, but Mr.
Hi, guys.
I can just tell you that it was very, very interesting, and we learned a lot. And
he's going out to his Ferrari now.
Yeah, so.
Yes, I was listening to him. I mean, he knows a lot about the solvents of this business.
Yep.
Yep. And, I just kind of wanted to confirm, I know we're short of time, but that we are doing an ASME B31-3. That is the code for doing a glued fitting. And we're doing a class here in Arizona. That's where I'm at. And we've got about 14 guys being certified. And we're going to be using the methods that Weldon taught us and the standards of the ASMT. So I just thought I'd let you guys all know that. We cut the pipe today. We ringed the pipe and beveled it and did everything what they need to do. They'll be gluing the pipe, and then we send it to the ASME standard company. They'll go ahead and test it for 2 weeks. If everything goes, everybody in the class gets a certification, and then they get a stamp. So every time they put a glued fitting on, they stamp it. And this is up to the Plumbers Union, Waterworks Union. And what we're trying to do is bring the irrigation into that, showing that, hey, you stamp it, you show that you did the proper fitting, and you did it the proper way, and you understand exactly what needs to be done using the right glue in a safe environment.
Yeah, just remind everybody not to pre-prime their fittings, the day before. I guess that was an interesting story that Fabio shared with one of his contractor customers, and of course he got them straightened out, but it's interesting.
So now all your students are stuck.
It's pretty amazing about having somebody on, and you really don't, go so deep in the glue a lot of times, but then it's just such a really important part of a job and how fittings should be put together. And the plumbers and the Plumbers Union And the waterworks people have always understood that because they're using very large pieces of pipe, and they're doing a lot of different things in the field. So I really think the irrigation industry should be looking at it in the same manner when they're putting in their fittings, taking care of it, wiping everything off, and taking their time and installing everything properly.
Well, so all your students stuck on you now?
Yeah. And then we now have it, if they go to our website, irrigatortech.com, right now we're doing a Facebook live in my hotel room, and we're video.
Whoa! Hey, this is a you know, it's rated PG.
It's a family-oriented show.
It's a family-oriented show. But go ahead.
It's videotaping me talking to you two guys. So
okay.
To know that you know, and know what we're talking about, and come and see our show and listen to it. And definitely everybody, you know, that's new to listen to the show that we've invited in Arizona and other states, you know, call in and ask questions on any subject as you're listening to it. If you hear a good subject that you want to ask questions, just call into the radio station and say, hey, I have a question. Mike and Rob will take care of that definitely for you. We really, that's why the show is there.
And if you stump us, you get a $100 gift card. So we're doing that.
God.
So everybody have a good weekend. Fabio, thank you very much. Have a good time in Mesa, Arizona, Richard, and we'll see you all next week. Thanks for joining the Water Zone.
Thank you, Southern California.
And the rest of the world.
This is 1050 AM KCAA Loma Linda and 106.5 FM Yucaipa.
It's time for the KCAA Community Calendar, brought to you exclusively by Learn for Life.
The 2016 Unstoppable Awards Luncheon is coming up Saturday, June 11th at the Brookside Golf and Country Club in Pasadena. Come on out for lunch and auction, music, and to help with a great cause. The Unstoppable Awards provide scholarships to foster youth with a GPA of 2.3 to 3.2 who have been accepted to a trade school, college, or university. To purchase tickets to the 2016 Unstoppable Awards Luncheon Saturday, June 11th, or to make a donation, go to edworks4u.org. That's edworks, the number 4, the letter U.org. You know, the way Prince would have spelled it. edworks4u.org.
The KCAA Community Calendar is presented exclusively by Learn for Life, where students can complete their education on a part-time basis. To find a resource center nearest you, visit Learn for Life online at learn4life.org.
Hey, Bonnie, your ride is looking sweet, and that bumping sound.
Yeah, Kamish, thanks for your referral to Alan Ed's Auto Sound and their expert installation